1 minute you're on the road looking at the scenery, the next you're in the scenery looking at the road. I was talking to a bloke the other night, g'day Matt, and he reminded me of when the Meningie Lake dried up back in the drought around 2008. And that reminded me of another set of lakes that dried up, first time in living memory, Lake Gnarpurt and Lake Corangamite, southwest Victoria. 100% dry. Now the Great Southwest is known for its wind. There is a solid westerly wind, always. It's not a question of if the wind's blowing, it's how hard the wind's blowing. Now you combine a good strong westerly and a dry lake bed, you've got dust. Dust like you would not believe. The visibility was so bad some days it was worse than fog. You couldn't see a thing. Great for air cleaners. They had to grade the road several times a week because there were great drifts of dust across the road, sometimes a foot deep. Now you hit that at a good clip and you'll know about it. They put temporary fences up with shade cloth to try and stop the dust blowing across the roads, all to no avail. The dust just built up against the fences and got deeper and deeper. Now, just because it's a drought doesn't mean it doesn't rain every now and then. And where you've got dust, you now have mud. Thick mud. Both sides of the road, encroaching on the road, and a nice slick right across the road. Now the Foxhow Road, which runs between the lakes, is not a wide road to start with. The etiquette is move as far left as you can, hold your breath, and hope for the best. While I was northbound in my B-double tipper, it had been raining, so thankfully for a change, dust wasn't an issue. Coming the other way was a Volvo Truck and Dog. So we saw each other coming. It's a nice straight stretch of road, and we both moved over to the left as far as we could. And as we went past, I saw this great jet of mud go up. Would have been 3 times the height of the truck. Thought to myself, that cannot be good. So I waited a couple of seconds for the trucks to get clear of each other. Looked back at my mirror, just in time to see old mate end up on his roof, jackknifed next to his trailer. Not what you want to see in the mirror. Now there's no chance of pulling over. Like I say, you pull over there, that's where you stay. So I just came to a dead stop in the middle of the road. Now thankfully there's not a great deal of traffic on that road. And ran back to the inverted Volvo. Didn't know what I was going to find. Now luckily as I approached I saw the driver climbing out of a window. He seemed relatively unharmed. He had some cuts and abrasions, bit of bruising, but overall seemed pretty good. That was a relief. I rang the manager of the company I was working for at the time. Now his first question was it your fault? No, it wasn't my fault. And then he asked the pointy-end question, is he saying it's your fault? Now there's a bit of a difference there. Now thankfully no, he wasn't. But this was before we had dash cams in trucks, and it really was down to anyone's word against anyone else's word. If he'd have said I'd run him off the road, then that's the story it would have been. Thankfully, he was honest, and he actually said, well, I stuffed up there, didn't I? Dropped the wheel in the mud and it was all over Red Rover. When that steer tyre went off the road, it sunk into the mud and stopped dead, and the entire truck pivoted 180 degrees on that steer tyre. And then the momentum of the trailer carried the truck over and it ended up on its roof next to its trailer. Not the way you want to end your day. The only good thing was, because of the thickness of the mud, it was quite a soft rollover. So there wasn't a great deal of damage. I don't think the windscreen even broke. Having said that, you don't want to be upside down in a cab. Which leads to the point how important dash cams are. Now I've got a dash cam in my truck now. I've got a dash cam in my private vehicle as well. Now the one thing about dash cams is if you're doing the right thing, they will save you every time. If you're doing the wrong thing, they will hang you, because the video doesn't lie. And I've got to say, I've been saved numerous times by having a dash cam. One involving a government bus. I'll have to tell you that story one day. Anyway, hit subscribe, give me a like, and I'll talk to you soon.